Welcome to the Scully Sez podcast, talking all things law, business, and more. Now here's your host, Tom Scully.
This is Tom Scully on Scully Sez, and today we have a guest speaker. This is Patrick, and Patrick's going to come in and give us words of wisdom when necessary. So anyway, we're going to start right off, I think. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was, have you noticed recently with these ICE proceedings, there are these folks that are kind of inserting themselves, and I think it's quite humorous. Are you familiar with Mr. Padilla, Patrick?
I am.
Yes. Did you see he was roughed up, it seems, and roughed up, and his feelings were hurt, and I believe he was he made a statement where he had tears coming. Well, he didn't have tears, but he's trying to get some tears coming out of his eyes, and he was working mightily at it. And it was a very sad proceeding. Did you kind of sympathize with them?
No, I couldn't find too much common ground there. You know, I didn't really have too much sympathy for the guy.
Well, it seems though that they've come up with something. Have you noticed that there's another guy that's come up with something which is very, very similar? His name is Brad Lander. He's the new candidate for mayor of New York City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and not only that, but he has this. There's another fellow, I can't remember what his name is, but I believe he is an avowed communist, and he may be the front runner right now, and the two of them are running hand in hand. So if the commie doesn't win, he's going to hand the baton off to Brad, and vice versa. So they're running, and they're going to try to fix up the city of New York. So you
well, it does beg the question: could there really be anything much worse than Eric Adams? You know?
Yes. Well, yes. Although I'll say this about Eric Adams: he's well dressed. You have to admit that.
Very sharp.
Very sharp. Very well coiffed. I've noticed that about the gentleman, and yes, and he has been pardoned. You notice that, right?
It's true.
Yes, he's a very polite fellow. You notice he said, "Pardon me," and of course the president obliged him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what we have on that one. So did you have anything else to say on either one of those two gentlemen?
No, I guess a little bit. I do think it's interesting that New York has like the problems that it has, and yet it seems that still like it's a push left. You know what I mean? Like you'd think that yes, with a lot of the issues that they have, a lot of the issues that they have would probably be remedied by a little bit more of a right-leaning perspective taken to some of the things that they're tackling there. And I think that the hesitancy for people to, make that change and try and push a different perspective into their leadership is probably due to the fact that most of the people who are in New York and are now voting constituents are not really people who are from New York, right? Like all those people do end up moving further down into Jersey or upstate, or, they'll be in Pennsylvania, kind of near the tri-state area, whatever. But they're not, those people all end up getting pushed out of New York. And then you have a bunch of idealists who live there.
Yeah, they try to escape for sure.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, that's so. I think you're right there. So as far as New York is concerned, I think that I think that if they went back to the days of Giuliani, you remember that was before your time, but New York was in very bad shape at one time. You couldn't walk down the street without being accosted by somebody asking for a couple bucks. And that was Times Square, and Giuliani came into the picture, and he cleaned the place up. He was a great mayor. Afterwards, he's done some questionable things or hasn't come across too well, but he was a great mayor in New York, and he cleaned the place up. And once he got out, the place began to revert back to where it's been. So
Right.
that's kind of
Well, I think people discount how much it matters. Like if you like, when you go overseas, go to Europe or something like that, right? A lot of the big differences like the pickpockets, or like the street vendors and stuff like that. And it's so alarming to like Americans. But like allowing New York and LA and cities like that to kind of become like that, allow that type of behavior, it makes them less engaging to like other Americans who would like otherwise visit them. People are leaving the country or going to like resorts and stuff like that. People don't go and visit the like country that they're actually a part of because it feels scary, it feels dangerous. And part of that's also obviously the media drumming it all up. But
well, yeah, but I think a lot of the cities in this country. Recently, we went to Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is looking pretty sad.
yeah,
And you have a mayor there that basically had nothing to do with the place as it was burning to the ground. And now she's come back out, and she's lecturing people now about how to behave. But that's another story. And then, of course, you have San Francisco, which used to be, as far as I was concerned, probably the greatest city to go to for a vacation. And it's just a place to avoid today. Do you agree with that?
yeah. I remember for I think it was my senior year or right before my senior year, we went to this has got to be like 2013 or 14. We went to San Francisco, and it was like really nice. Some of the stuff that was like becoming a problem now it was definitely rising, but it was really, really pretty. And the last time I was out there, it did not give the same, I don't even want to say safety, but the same community vibe. You know what I mean? There was like a disconnect between the people who were walking around in the streets and the people who like represented San Francisco or at least its values,
Well, speaking about walking along the streets, you had to step lively when you walked along the streets. If you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a good thing to stay alert with such things.
Yeah,
Yes.
they have an app for that, I think now.
Oh, they do. Oh, yes, they have an app. I believe that they show. They have a map. This app has a map, and the map has all these little brown dots on it. And you aware of that map?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And the map is basically, which was, I guess, like a yellow or perhaps like a beige, become mostly a dark brown. You've seen that?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because it's a beautiful city.
Yes, no, I agree. You can make fun about the city, but you're absolutely right. I mean, it's just it was kind of like a gem. It was one of the great cities in the United States, and it's kind of sad, very sad.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we've cleaned up the city, so to speak, in some respects, and in other respects, we've just left it the way it was. So did you have anything else to say about any of the cities, or the decline of the cities?
Well, I think it's interesting that it always does seem to be these like super culturally rich cities that end up like having these declines, like it's like every city that I've ever been to where, maybe some of the people who like live there would say like, oh, it's a dying city, or it was so much better back in the day, like New York or Chicago or San Francisco, LA, all these cities. It's like seemingly I don't know if it's a concerted effort to attack that culture that's brewing, but it seems like those are the cities that get targeted. It's never like it's not like a bland city, like not to disrespect Dallas, but like, Dallas isn't a place where you're like, oh man, it was so much better back in the day. Like Dallas is not a place that does. And also it's because Fort Worth is kind of more I think the more like defining of the two cities in my opinion, but like it's always these like super, super culturally rich cities. It's always these cities that have like great arts or great museums or wonderful architecture that get degraded. I don't know what the reason is for that, but I think it's worth, mentioning.
Oh no, absolutely, and the contrast is something to behold. So you'll have you'll have the symphony, which is you'll have the symphony, say in San Francisco, and you're going to the symphony and you're stepping over somebody to get there. So
Right.
the contrast is just amazing. Anyway, that's enough of the city. Have you ever come across this guy by the name of Bill Mayer?
I have.
Well, there used to be back in the day. I think he's pretty much of a liberal. But back in the day, with Mayer, I disliked the guy. He seemed smug and very very sure of himself, and he had all these ideas that I didn't particularly go along with. But time has gone on, and as time has gone on, I'm getting to like this guy more and more. He talked about the other day. He's not only liberal, but he's also having trouble with some of his liberal friends. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
He said that he went over. Kid Rock invited him to go to Trump's party. And he went to Trump's party or whatever it was, and he talked with Trump, and he said he had a great time talking to Trump. He said there are two different Trumps. He said there's the persona that you see out there, on the television or on the campaign trail, and then there's the guy that basically will sit down and talk to you one-on-one. And he said he enjoyed being with the guy. And that got him all kinds of trouble because evidently the folks that were listening to him and they didn't like that.
Well, that's hilarious too, right? Because 10, 15 years ago, Trump was a normal celebrity, kind of, like he was not, there was not really the division like that. You know what I mean? Like if he said he likes Trump, someone who doesn't like him would just be like, oh yeah, like that. It's like a difference of opinion, but now it's like a cultural lightning rod. Like, oh, he said he likes Trump, therefore he is a Trumper, therefore, all this baggage that comes with it. And it's like, he's just saying he enjoyed a conversation with a guy. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy that it's gotten to that point, but.
Yeah, well, I saw a picture the other day or an old photo where he went on The View.
Yeah.
He was hugging Whoopi.
They loved him.
Oh yeah, they said what a wonderful guy he was, and but that's him.
It can flip that quick, you know what I mean? It goes that easy. I mean, like, not that there's plenty of craziness, but like people have over and over and over again proved how quickly the culture can switch on you. You know what I mean? And how fast they can just decide that you're like, you're bad and now the problem is it's morality, right? It's not even like I think when you were growing up, if you didn't like a baseball player or a basketball player, it was like, okay, whatever. But like now it's like, oh, if you are on one side of the Jordan debate or one side of LeBron debate, you are like better as a person or worse as a person. It's like a morality thing with every issue, and makes no sense.
Well, I believe we're talking about Caitlin Clark right now, are we not?
It's true. Yeah. People are real upset about the way she's getting treated.
Oh yeah, which is true. We talk about that all the time. It's funny, jealousy is a funny type of thing. You have a person that is giving you all sorts of things, giving you a lot of money, giving you used to go to these games on some rickety old bus. Now you've got yourself a charter airplane, and you're staying instead of staying in some dive hotel, you're staying in one of the better hotels in the area. You're making money. You're getting recognized. You're being on television. Your viewership is going way up, and yet you resent the person. You resent the person that's doing this because I suppose they're getting all the attention, and rightfully so. That's why everything is going better.
And that's what I don't understand is for years you've had this like call like, oh, we need something that makes specifically women's basketball, but we need something that makes women's basketball watchable. We need something that makes this like a product that people will actually follow. And you got someone supremely talented. And it's not to say that like as a whole the game hasn't advanced. Like it is like as a whole from like 10 years ago a much better game to watch. But like it's one person who's really, really driven this, and you can't hate her for essentially elevating you. When there's supreme talent around, you elevate the supreme talent and you benefit as much as you can around it. I mean, it's exactly what Jordan did. It's exactly what Magic and Bird did before that.
Yeah. Does she remind you of a female Stefan?
At 100%.
Yeah.
Even with the attitude too, have you noticed? Like, she's humble to a point, though. There was a certain point where she's like, okay, I know who I am.
Yeah, and smooth.
I like it.
Yeah,
super smooth.
Oh yeah, like us, super smooth. Yeah. I mean, you don't like to admit it. You don't like to, don't want to flaunt it or anything like that. But I mean, it's true, and
it's evident.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't think we have to talk about it. I think it just comes through. It's just like a natural thing. So, and so now we've also covered the big cities, and I think we've also covered basketball, women's basketball, and things of that nature. We covered Bill Maher. Are you keeping up with what's happening in Israel?
A little bit. I'm trying to. So when Ukraine and Russia was a thing, I got a little bit too probably too invested. Just was a little bit too much. Like, oh, what's going on, and it allowed to affect my mood a little bit too much. So I'm trying to trickle it in, But I mean, I know that they attacked Tel Aviv. What was it last night? I think.
Oh yeah. They hit a hospital the other day, which is. But I guess one of the things that kind of surprised me, of course, Israel was established in 1948. And when it was established, I mean, it's a relatively small place. I did not realize this, but Iran is probably 10 times the size of Israel, if not more. I think they say it's the size of three states of Texas. I mean, it's that huge. And so you got this tiny little outfit, and it's mind-boggling to me that you've got this tiny little place, which has all of this firepower and all of this logistics going into play, and they're able. It reminds me of David and Goliath. Do you see the similarity between them?
Yeah, I can see a comparison.
Yeah,
I can see a comparison. Well, I think it's interesting because when it's Israel and Palestine, I see where the division's going to come from there. That makes sense. It's a battle of land and a little bit of ideology, but mainly it's about physical resource. It's a battle of a resource. That makes sense. Okay. I don't understand all these proxy wars that have become the norm now, right? Where it's Iran's fighting for, Palestine, but they're actually, it's actually Russia backing Iran, who's and there's all these subversive reasons why they're doing what they do. I don't get, I see the David and Goliath comparison for sure. Like I said, with Palestine, I kind of get why it's such a vicious war there. But with this outside state coming in, it seems like it's just ideology. It seems like it's just Islam versus Judaism for what Iran's vested interest is in the conflict. I don't know if that's the case, but that's just all I can gather from it.
It's always kind of surprised me as to why. I think I've heard this phrase before. Why can't we all just get along?
Yeah. For real.
Yeah. I don't know why we have to be butting into other people's businesses or other people's way of life. Why can't we just let the people do what they want to do and go about our business?
Right. Yeah? Well, and as you said it a couple times, but as if there's not enough things that we could focus our attention on here, right? We need to worry about our country and worry about the people who live here. And I agree with your take on foreign students in American colleges. Obviously, you're going to have some. That's okay. We're a land of opportunity, but to have it be more of the student base is crazy, because then what's the point in it's a game of resources. Education is, right? So you spend all these resources and teachers and all this government money going into schools, even private schools and programs and all these. And then those people become professors at our universities. And then they teach people that leave, what I mean? That doesn't
Yes.
really make sense. That's just a waste of our resources. Sometimes we should do that because we need to share with the world to make it, a greater whole, right? But like, it shouldn't be the priority. It definitely shouldn't be the majority,
Yeah, I think that with a lot of these, I think we're getting a lot of people into the country right now that probably shouldn't be there, and there's a lot of resistance in trying to get rid of them. Do you follow that?
Yeah, I get, again, I do understand the perspective a little bit
Hmm.
where people are nervous about how it's being done and stuff like that. But I've never understood why people have like such like a emotional perspective on like not wanting illegal immigrants in the country. Like it's not about the individual on when you're having that conversation. It's about like it's if you don't have secure borders, what do you have, right? As a nation, basically, you know what I mean? If you're just allowing that to endlessly happen and no consequences.
Yeah, I think that it takes a while. I mean, no, it takes a while for people to assimilate or to get into the culture. And a lot of times, what you have is you have these different areas of the country which basically have different cultures. So and it's more difficult for these folks to assimilate. And in many respects, they uh, they 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 seem to be almost anti-American on some of these protests where you see a lot of these foreign flags being thrown, burning the American flags, and then waving these other flags around from these foreign countries. It's
Yeah.
kind it's kind of it's kind of unnerving to see that, because it seems as though people that are living here, people doing well here, are actually against the United States and favoring other countries which they left.
Right.
Uh,
And that doesn't make much sense, right? Because then what if the opportunity was not provided to you in the place that you left and you come to another place and you get the opportunity, like I'm just not, it's a bite the hand that feeds you mentality that I guess I don't understand. Like I don't get, like you can maintain, like, if we're talking about like a Mexican person, you can maintain your Mexican
sure.
identity. No
Yeah.
one minds that. Everyone knows Mexican Americans and everyone, like at this point in time, it would be very surprising to have someone who doesn't know someone who like works with them or anything like that who is Mexican American. I mean, they're very common people
Yes.
in our country, and
Yes.
no one cares about that identity. No one's upset about that. No, whatever. It's the idea that you would be representing that before you're representing the values of here. And like, here is your home now, right? Like once you've made it your home, you should be like, we should all kind of like, that should be where what the unifying factor, regardless of race and regardless of social divides, like the unifying factor is that we're all for the same country. So if we're in it, we're all in it together. That's the whole point.
Yes, I also get a kick out of the Mideastern folks, uh, different people that they have different values. Some of the gay folks that are in favor of the Middle East, and of course, they're here and they're allowed to say whatever the heck they want, but they wouldn't want to be saying that over there.
Yeah.
Because I've heard the expression about the guy lost his head when he was talking about this, but I think that's more than just an expression over there.
Right.
That
That might be a
tends,
prescription over there.
yes, that tends to be the real thing, so to speak. Yes.
Yeah, no, that is a weird cognitive dissonance for sure. That makes no sense and only possible here in America.
Yeah. Oh, we had. I don't know if I mentioned with Mr. Obama. Actually, I saw him. I saw a picture of him the other day. He's kind of looking he's not looking too good. Not that I'm looking any better, but it seems like Barack. The years have kind of caught up with him. But he. I'm thinking to myself that this is the guy that in 1968 he told us that everything was fine with Iran, that he had patched everything up, and that the political solution, or he had figured it out, and so they had assured him that there would be no nuclear weapons being developed, and that, of course, he took them at the word, and we kind of saw what happened there.
Well, I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, because I was young when this was happening, but that was like a big criticism of Obama, is that he didn't like go into Iran and confirm that they were not doing that, right? Wasn't that was like a talking point?
No, that's right. That's exactly right. And then after that, of course, we had Mr. Biden come in, and they said that when Trump was first in, that Iran was in pretty desperate shape, like it is right now. They had no money. They had very few resources. And they were being frozen out. And of course, Mr. Biden comes in, and he refueled them. And during the 4 years that he was in, he gave them billions and billions of dollars, and so that they were able to come back stronger than ever. And well, anyway, Mr. Obama the other day, he was on one of these talk shows, and once again he was telling people where they went wrong, and how if we had only listened to him, or if we'd only listened to him more carefully, we'd all be better off for the experience. Did you catch that, or is that something that passed you by?
That passed me for sure. But I saw a headline about him being. To your first point, I saw a picture of him like on this appearance you're talking about. Yeah. He did look way old, which was like super shocking to me, being someone who has only known him as like a super young guy, like a super young president, you know?
Well, that's one thing, like people have always said that about me. I think when I turned 40, I don't think I ever aged after that. And so there are very few people that if I tell them that I'm 43, they're shocked, and they just don't get it. You understand? Yeah. I mean, Baraki's got some wrinkles on it, and I certainly wouldn't want to have anything like that. And so, but he's showing his age. That's it.
Well, he's been doing, and he's been, if I'm not mistaken, he's been doing kind of a bit of a press tour lately. I'm not sure what the reasoning for it is. I don't know if you know, but like I don't know if there's some like political advantage to him doing it. I don't know, but
I think I think his wife has a podcast too. You know that it's competing with us. So we're actually, I think, neck and neck right now. She has her brother on the show with him, and so the favorite topic is knocking this guy by the name of Barack, and that's pretty much the entire show as to what he's done wrong and why he could have been better, and why he doesn't straighten up and fly right. That's the whole show. So, so I think we agree on that, though. I think there is some common ground that we found.
Right.
Yeah. So all right. So now I have we've hit just about everything that's going to infuriate people that are listening to us, which is that's one thing about the podcasts. Usually, when they throw something at you, they wreck their own television set or their own computers rather than us, you see.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're doing an in-person interview like this, and you could harm yourself or get harmed by some of these. Although I think what we could do is we probably could do something like Mr. Lander did in New York. Ask them for the authority to do that, and then of course we yeah. You have tears coming down, it'd be very sad, and why we would treat so maliciously, you see.
Oh man,
I know. I hear you.
Well, the best thing too is, people do get so charged up about all these like silly, you're not even silly, some of them are important issues, but people get so charged up about all these issues and everything like that. But at the end of the day, let's say like, if we break it down to a numbers game, probably 10% of people ever, do something super effective to make that change, whether it's like be a lawyer or work in, the government, or, you know what I mean? Like most people don't actually care like that. But then because the internet is the internet and people can speak the way they can speak, you get such a like violent and crazy outcry about anything negative that you say or anything that goes against like whatever the like norm happens to be, and it's just funny nowadays, because like I would think the average person would probably be more likely to fight someone 20, 30 years ago. But today, everyone's willing to talk about how bad they want to like kill the person whose opinion they don't like, or, attack them or whatever, it's just such a weird, like parasocial world we've started to like grow in. And like, I don't know anything really too much different. Like cell phones were like there, you know what I mean? My whole life, like, and I remember the iPhone. I remember our DARE officer came in and was like, this is going to like screw up the world. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be bad. Be careful with this. And then like, now I think like, oh, that was like the smartest guy I ever knew. You know what I mean? But back then it was like, all right, crazy guy, whatever. But
well, I think I think some of what you said though about the internet, this guy that came in the middle of the night and killed those two senators.
Yeah,
I think that's that's a reflection of how somebody can kind of go off the deep end by paying too much attention to some of this stuff,
Right, and especially if you're in a chamber like a Reddit, kind of like an echo chamber, where every time you say, "Oh, I'm gonna go and blank 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 this person," people agree with you and act like that's like the right decision because like they've done enough wrong that it's like morally okay to do these like horrible things. You know what I mean? Like that's very common on the internet, that type of thinking. And now you're starting to see a lot more of it acted on.
Yeah. Yeah. Affirmation, I guess, is what they call that. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And your wrong-headed ideas, you can be affirmed. Yeah. Which is really kind of a scary thing. And, you ruin these people's lives and, and you feel morally justified for doing it.
Right. Well, and think about this too. Like if you wanted to go and do something terrible to someone, right? Now there's a forum where people are talking about whether hypothetically or realistically how they do it and how to get away with it and how, here's the frequency that police scanners on so you can do that. It's like all of the stuff is set up for people to take in all the information they need to do whatever terrible stuff they would do. Intel that would have taken, FBI agents in the field 10, 15 years to cultivate is available to you by typing. And it's true in everything. You know what I mean? And so it's just, it's scary. It's amazing. It's wonderful, but it's scary. It's super, super scary.
Yeah. No, there's very little out there that you can't find very quickly.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, is there anything that you want to, any contribution you want to make that's going to contribute to the welfare of mankind at this point?
I would say probably people could do better to have, more of their own opinions and to have conversations with people that disagree with them on the surface. It is good. I'm someone who probably trends more conservative, and I work in a purely liberal environment, and some of them are younger and very, very progressive and don't want to hear anything I have to say. But over time, they listen, and they find out that we have a lot more common ground than they could have ever thought. And that is the only thing that like actually makes us move forward as like a people, is to just like constantly collaborate, constantly talk it out, and just hash it out. That's just what it has to be.
I agree. I think arguing, dialogue, I think is good because I think what's dangerous is the fact that people don't argue and they keep these thoughts to themselves. And I think that's, and then resentment builds up. And then when nobody's listening to you or nobody's trying to reason with you, you do things that probably are not well thought out. And,
exactly.
So.
Well, exactly. It's the, people always tell the joke like, oh man, bring back bullying. You know what I mean? Or if bullying existed, this person wouldn't exist. You know what I mean? And it's like, obviously there's nuance to that. You don't want people like being, just belittling someone because you have a position of power, or belittling someone because you can, and that's not good. That's not the way to be. But there is something to that, natural checks and balances that have been removed because now we're so conscientious of each other's feelings and of each other's situations and everything like that, which is good. But at the same time, there's that check is missing. And sometimes like the stuff that was weird for a reason. It wasn't weird just because you wanted to belittle the person who was interested in this or that. It was weird because it was the social order recorrecting you to show you how to, act in normal life. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's why people nowadays are having a lot of hard time finding, a partner, right? You don't have to learn how to interact with everyone. You can learn how to interact with only people who like what you like. You know what I mean? Which narrows your pool so much, just so much.
Well, I think that's another thing that we could get into, but I think that you're not interacting with people actually when you're on the internet or when you're typing something out. You're interacting on a different way or a different level. You're not really conversing with people. You're not really exchanging ideas. You're not having the conversation, and so I think that's a problem. No.
Right. A lot of times it's just almost like not even a script, like it's not written, but there's these like buzzwords or specific lines of thinking that you'll go down with the person that you're conversing on the internet with that almost it's just unnatural. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. I mean, in the real world, you can walk up to someone who completely disagrees with you, completely disagree with them to their face, and they'll generally give you their reasoning for why they disagree with you, and you'll have a conversation. Generally speaking, and that doesn't exist on the internet, and that right there that's the foundation of perspective, and perspective is the only thing that matters, wholly, right? That's the only thing that gets you through every situation.
Yeah, we don't have groups the way we used to have groups, and that's probably not a good thing either. All right, I think we said pretty much everything that needs to be said, and I think that the people that are listening to us are better for the experience. I'm sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the room's a lot warmer for sure too.
Oh yes. Yeah. I feel those good vibes coming on right now.
Yeah.
All right. Having said that, I believe that we should end it before we hurt ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you till the next time. Okay.
All right, and you too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.